that were built before them, the Incas did the same thing. And the Incas were living in those buildings when the Spanish came, but they didn't build those buildings. They were already there because they're built out of giant blocks of stone. I mean, it can't be destroyed. Even the Spanish, would like to dismantle these buildings if they could, but they weren't really able to. They were so well built and with such large blocks of stone. I mean, the Spanish did alter the buildings. The roofs were changed and things like that. They would put new doors into walls wherever they could. But essentially, these ancient buildings are still standing there today. People are still living in them, but they didn't build those buildings.
And there is another thing that is quite amazing here. The technology of how they actually, developed this. It's like seamlessly these stones have been carved and then placed. And one of the advantages of this, of course, is that these structures are kind of earthquake resistant, meaning that the buildings that we build today, shatter, almost, instantly if there's a powerful enough earthquake. But these structures actually can withstand this because of the way the stones have been carved and then placed. So this is like the structure is holding up itself, right?
That's right. Yeah, those kind of buildings, like the ones in Peru, they are the most sophisticated form of building, and that's because these giant blocks of stone are locked in together. And even though they're huge blocks of stone, you would think they wouldn't be going anywhere, but they still lock them together like a jigsaw. When you build with, say, bricks, and when you're building structures that are made out of uniform, pieces, like a brick, or even, say, just larger stones. But if they're all the same size and rectangular, and you just have kind of layer upon layer, and this is how the Spanish built, too, in, say, Cuzco, when they built the early cathedrals and stuff. They built it the old Spanish style. It's not as well built as the earlier megalithic buildings. But when the shock wave of an earthquake hits those buildings, they shear. And because they're built in these layers, they can't really withstand the big earthquakes. So that they're moving, the walls fall down, but the ancient building has, because of the jigsaw pattern, these giant blocks are locked together. So even when the wave of an earthquake hits it, and there's no mortar used either, the blocks will move together so that they can shake briefly, but because they're locked in together, the whole wall comes back together and remains standing, even, in the force of giant earthquakes. So it's the most sophisticated kind of building. I mean, this is the kind of thing, when you see buildings in Egypt, other ancient buildings in Greece, also in India, Indonesia, on Pacific Islands, in Peru, there are megalithic buildings in Mexico too. I mean, these buildings, they are made to last for thousands of years, and they have.
Yeah.
When we build things today, I mean, there's almost planned obsolescence. In capital cities in Europe and America, I mean, there are some very well-built buildings with big stones and things like that. But even those buildings are only meant to last for a few hundred years, really, not for thousands of years like the ancients built things. Wow,
and there is one more thing here. I think the area is called Sacsayhuaman. Is that
Sacsayhuaman? Yeah, that is the giant megalithic fortress above Cuzco on the hills up there. Yeah.
And one thing I guess that I've heard you talk about before is kind of the way of how the heck they actually did get the stones up there itself, because there's the quarry is way off, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's right, and also at Tiwanaku, the quarries are like many miles away. So, particularly in South America, and as well as in Mexico and Central America, you have a problem because, according to mainstream archaeologists, the Incas were very primitive. They didn't know the wheel. They didn't know writing, supposedly. They were lacking many of the basics of civilization, supposedly. Yet, when they built things, they were superb engineers. I mean, and you have to ask why. Why would anyone go around building out of giant blocks of stone, the size of a semi-truck? You don't have to do that. I mean, we don't do that today.
Yeah.
I mean, we have big cranes and things like that, trains and ships to haul material around, but we do not make that kind of effort to build out of blocks of stone that weigh 50 tons or 100 tons. There's no reason for it. But yet these ancient people did build like that, and you have to ask why. I mean, did they want to build, something that was almost impossible, to make? Yet they made it.
Yeah, and to me, I mean, this suggests that these people actually wanted something that could last, something that actually could take the pounding of either if it was earthquakes or flooding or whatever. This to me suggests that they had been involved in some tremendous cataclysm, some traumatic experience basically.
And when you see Tiwanaku, which is on the southern shore of Lake Titicaca in Bolivia, and you see the amazing ruins there, and the archaeologists admit that's pre-Inca, even though, and it's from, some thousands of years ago at least, but you see the ruins there, and they are destroyed. I mean, they are these giant blocks of granite, and they are just thrown around by some cataclysmic destruction, many of them buried. I mean, something happened there to destroy those giant buildings, and it must have been quite a cataclysm.
Oh my gosh, yeah, wouldn't like to live through that again. And as you say, this is a constant recurring theme in the mythologies of not only the cultures of South America, but other cultures as well, that there are these cycles coming and going, destructions of different kinds. And if I remember correctly now, I think that the Mayans have this legend that our current world, if this is the fifth, I think that this will end in fire. Many people have related this to the sun itself and the solar radiation increasing and all of this. Do you have any idea or take on this?
Well, I'm familiar with many of those stories, and I mean, this is kind of all part of the thing too. Is that apparently, there are many cataclysms that come and go, from volcanic eruptions to tidal waves and tsunamis, and even to the sun sending out super flares that fry the earth. In many ways, we've been quite lucky. I mean, you look at civilization today. I mean, we're only about 200 years old. All of the things we have now, so modern and space flight and everything. But it's only happened in the last couple of hundred years.
Yeah.
And in this last few hundred years, I mean, the Earth has been relatively quiet. There have been some volcanic upheavals and tsunamis and things like that, but really we've been lucky that most of the world has escaped, a lot of destruction. But yet, that may be a cyclical thing, and quite possibly we're way overdue for something to happen.
That's right. We're quickly running out of time here, but before we end the segment here, I would like to tell people how they can get your new book, and for that matter, tell them some of your previous books that you have out there also.
Yeah, right. Well, my new book, The Mystery of Olmecs and all my books, can be found on our website at adventuresunlimitedpress.com. It's also available at Amazon.com and other sites, Amazon.co.uk as well. I'm the author of over 20 books. They're all published by Adventures Unlimited Press. I've written the Lost Cities series. There's 6 books in that. I wrote a book called A Hitchhiker's Guide to Armageddon. My book, Technology of the Gods, has been translated into quite a few foreign languages, French, German, other languages. I'm also the author of books on Nikola Tesla, on anti-gravity. I did a book on the extraterrestrial archaeology, all about structures on the moon and Mars. And also write about the Templar fleet. And one of my popular books is a book called pirates in the Lost Templar fleet.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, so I mean, so everybody do take a look. It's adventuresunlimitedpress.com to pop in there and take a look at the online the bookstore that they have there. And again, it's been a pleasure to have you on the program, David. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
You have been listening to Red Ice Creations Radio. David and I will continue talking in our subscriber section, and we are going to get into the technology of the gods, ancient flying machines, Vimanas from Hindu mythology, crystal technology and the crystal skulls, electricity in the ancient world and ancient atomic warfare. Absolutely fascinating material that you don't want to miss. Stop by our website redicecreations.com and check out our subscriber section on how to sign up and tune in. We have a 3-month subscription option available, and you'll get full access to our growing radio archive. You can easily sign up with PayPal or take a look at our alternative payment methods in case you don't want to use PayPal. Many thanks to producer Fredrik Palmgren, and thank you for listening. This is Henrik Palmgren. Until next time, take good care.
Dog got the mighty, let me tell the news. My head got wet in midnight dew. Great God, I've been down on my bending knees, talking to a man from Galilee. My God spoke and he sounds so sweet. I thought I heard the shuffle of angels' feet.